Welcome to the Photo Call. Here we share your skincare tips and tricks. So subscribe and let us know in the comments what your skincare routine looks like, because you might be our next call. So Andy, thank you so much for joining us today.
No problem.
Can you introduce yourself to us?
So I am Andy Johnson. I am 35 and I am from Ireland.
Great. Just to start, have you ever had any kind of skin concerns?
When I was much younger, I had the oiliest, most out of control skin. I suppose that's typical of anyone really when they're in their teens. But yeah, I had the worst oily, acne-prone skin, and definitely I think that whenever we're that age, whenever we're in our teens, we don't have the education to see a good product that's going to help us to a product that's going to actually make it worse.
Mm-hmm.
And I know for me, when I grew up, it started to become a bit of an annoyance. You know, whenever you're 14, 15, you're starting to go out a bit more. You're starting to see people and be out in the world. And you want everything to just have that image of I've got everything together. But you see, whenever you have an oily, acne-prone skin, it's just the hardest thing to control. And all these products that we use and we think are going to make it better, if we don't have the education on how to use them and also what's good and what's bad, we can make the problem 10 times worse.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, when I grew up, that's definitely a time that I remember being so fed up and nothing was working. Everything was working against me, it felt like. And as we grow up and we get more education, we know a good product from a bad product and a good tool to use and one that's not so great. So yeah, definitely when I look back to my teenage years, I think, oh God, and some of the things that I did as well back then, you're like, oh, what was I doing? Why did I do that? But it's all part of growing up and it's a lesson learned.
And what was the solution for dealing with oily skin and the acne?
So here's the thing. I remember thinking, we used to, and my sister was the exact same. We used to literally use Clinique, the lotion number 4, the clarifying lotion number 4, which is the strongest one.
Mm-hmm.
And we used to put 2 layers of that on and then put on like a prescription benzoyl peroxide cream. And I remember it now. We used to sit and your skin would be so red and just be so angry. And we didn't know any better at that stage. No, you know, we didn't know that there was a salicylic acid. We didn't know that there was maybe a cleansing tool that we could have used to gently bring the problem around. And when I grew up, you had Clearasil, you had these brilliant products that solved every skin issue, you know, and you thought, I want all of that. Give me all of that. I'll use it all at once. I'll use it twice.
Mm-hmm.
And it actually, looking back, was the worst thing because it just made the problem 10 times worse. And whenever I started to get like into maybe 17, 18, I started to really break everything down. And I suppose this is where my love of skincare comes from, that a salicylic acid is oil soluble. So we use a bit of that, maybe at night time to exfoliate a wee bit. We care during the day. We use these products that calm the skin, to calm any inflammation. Whereas back then it was just pile it on, get it on quickly, and you were actually just adding to the problem. So definitely I read more and I saw other people as well that were doing things that I maybe wasn't, and I was taking little tips from them. And I definitely think now, I mean, I'm 35 now, that was 18 long years ago, but I definitely think now that when you get those products and those things that you know work for you, stick with it.
Yeah.
Work with it and let it work for you. Let it come round for you, and know the little things that you like. For example, I love a salicylic acid cleanser. Love it. I use it every morning with a Foreo. It's the way I do things. Works for me. Keeps everything together. And bacteria, oil, is everything's controlled. I don't have acne anymore in the face. That works for me, and I think if it works for you, stick to it. But finding those products and those things that work for you is your journey. That's your journey of discovery, as it were, and that's the hard part of skincare.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and what does your skincare routine look like now?
Let's start. My skincare routine, do you know what? I have staples that I use that I do not deviate from. So I like a salicylic acid cleanser. So this is the Verso Deep Cleanse. This one's the Deep Cleanse. It used to be called Acne Deep Cleanse. And this has a high percentage of salicylic acid in it. So I love salicylic acid in a cleanser, because what I'll do is I'll be in the shower and I'll put it on and I'll use my hands first. Get it massaged in. Now, let it sit for maybe 40 seconds and then I go in with the Luna. I love it, love it, love it. And I give it one last go over and just let it sit, because an acid needs time to work. So just let the heat in your fingers do the first little bit of the job and then go deep with your Luna after. I do not deviate from that. I stick to that because that's what keeps everything under control for me. After that, I retinols all the way. Medik8 are unbelievable for retinols, and this is Shani Darden's retinol. This is called Retinol Reform. Shani Darden is an American facialist, and this one is a bit of a concoction. So there's retinol in here, but there's also a lactic acid. Lactic acid is a light acid. It just keeps everything exfoliated and brightened, but it's actually from milk. Lactic acid is derived from milk, so it's very gentle, very easy. So if, for example, now it's coming into winter in Ireland, so it's getting colder, you know, your skin's doing that thing where it's getting a bit sensitive, we're getting a bit dry and here's what I do. I can swap to this gentle retinol. When my skin's normal, I can work with it. It's not kicking up. I go to the stronger retinols and Medik8. This one is Crystal Retinol 10. So this is the strongest they do that you can buy in a store. So that's how I work things. Moisturizer wise, moisturizer is, for me, alongside cleanser, one of the most important things. Your cleanser, and it's nobody says it, nobody comes out and says things like this, but your cleanser is the most important part of your routine. And I'll tell you why. Is because I can put any amount of retinol serums on my skin. I can put the most expensive serum ever, but if I don't have a clean skin that serum can work through, it doesn't work. So these two, without these, this means nothing. Retinol doesn't have a point. So for me, I don't live without these two. I don't. And I there's no point spending any money on a good retinol or a good moisturizer if you don't have your cleansing game down. There's no point. Now, moisturizer wise, I used to be a massive La Mer fan, and I did love it, but I've been recently using this. This is Cosmetics 27 Balm 27, and this is absolutely stunning. It's like the base ingredient is Centella Asiatica, which is basically a really common ingredient. And there's a lot of literature coming out now that it's the main anti-aging ingredient that we should be looking at besides retinol. So I love it. That being said, I have umpteen different things that I call on. However, the things that don't change are my cleansing routine. Do not take away my salicylic acid cleanser. Do not take away my Foreo. And do not take away my retinols. Everything else I can balance out. If I'm having an oily day, there's a bit of Clinique. If I want a bit more of a daytime retinol, there's Obagi. There's everything. There's a little bit of Sicily if you fancy it. You know, I like to have an arsenal that I play with my skin. So as I wake up, my skin might be dry. I have a product there that I can use. If my skin is oily, I have something to control it. But cleansers, Salicylic acid cleanser, Foreo, and retinols do not change. I will not do without them. Those are my staples.
I think that you really know a lot about the skincare.
Love it.
So do you share your insights and everything you know with other people?
100%, 100%. And I think that once you become that person that people go, what do you recommend for, or what do you do with this? You build that sort of name up, do you know what I mean? That people sort of say, take me to Cult Beauty or Space NK and show me a good product. And you'll find as well, you'll find that people who have skin concerns don't necessarily talk about them. They don't come out and say, oh God, look at what I've covered over with concealer here. It's one of those things that you keep into yourself, which is probably why skin conditions and those sort of problems are such a big thing. And they're such a big thing when it comes to mental health, is because we don't come out and say, oh, look what's happening here. Can someone help? We go, look at what's happening. Can you help me? Do you know, it's one of those secretive problems. And I think definitely that my friends in my sort of circle, even on Instagram a little too, you get those people that go, oh God, look at this. What do I do with this? And you go, let me show you. You've got a blemish. Kate Somerville, get a bit of that on it. It's gone in 2 days. Or I'm dry, I'm really red and sensitive, like nothing is working. Balm 27, I'll give you a little bit. It will solve it in a day or two. And you build up that sort of name whenever people go, that really worked. Thank you so much. And then a friend comes over and goes, I have this. And you go, I know what to do. You know, so you do build up that sort of, you know, people come to you and go, what do I do? What do I do? And just the other day, actually, I had a girl who, over here in Ireland, she's actually a model. And she was like, look, nothing is controlling. I have facialists giving me Obagi. They're giving me Environ. I can't get it controlled. And sometimes you need to rein it in. All those products are so active. So I was like, let's get a nice cleanser on the go here. Let's get a nice gentle moisturizer that we can just calm any inflammation with. And literally, she was like, look at the difference in my skin in 24 hours. It's because she was going on with so many acids and so many retinols that it was doing exactly what I was doing as a teenager. Too much. So once you build that name up, people will come to you, and as the market moves on and as ingredients move on, you move on with it, because I love that. This is my thing. Do you know what I mean? I love skincare.
So the best thing would be to have you for a friend.
Well, yes, probably. If you're into skincare, we can be best friends. BFFs, 100%. You got my number.
Tell me, how much time do you spend on your skincare routines?
Do you know what? Here's the thing. Not a lot, which is, I've shown you X amount of products, but not a lot, simply because I work full time. In the morning, it's literally about making myself look good, you know, and it's one of those things that people, you know, you say, oh, look good, but you want to look good when you go to work, you know, there's no problem in saying that. And I think especially in skincare, a lot of people go, oh, you know, I want a bit of something here. Just say you want to look good. It's grand. Just say you want to look good. In the morning, literally cleanse, tone, maybe a little bit of treatment lotion, and then on with, I always wear Clinique during the day. This just looks really great underneath any makeup. And that's it. I'm out the door. At night is whenever everything sort of happens. So definitely we're on with our cleansing routine. We do not deviate from that. Definitely a retinol and things like that. But to be honest, it takes no less than maybe 10-15 minutes. You know, it isn't, we're not sitting for 3 hours, you know, waiting for something to go in. And that's whenever I say, when you get products that work and work alongside you, stick to them, because if it isn't broken, don't fix it. Yeah,
so it's not so time consuming, and nobody can say, I don't have time for that.
Do you know what I mean? Exactly. It's one of those things where, I mean, don't get me wrong. I could sit and I could cleanse. I could put a little mask on. I could do a little LED treatment with the Current Body mask. I could do anything like that, which would take maybe 45 minutes, an hour. I don't have that time. Maybe on a day off when I've got something on the TV, I'll relax and do something
Mm-hmm.
then, but I don't have the time for that. The products that I use now work for me and work for my lifestyle. And I mean, I don't have any major skin problems right now because I've got all those products that work.
Mm-hmm.
Why spend any more time? I could be watching Netflix, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I could be out having a jog if I jogged. I could be, baking a cake. There's no point. If it's not adding to your routine, just don't do it.
Mm-hmm. And what would you say? What boosts your confidence the most?
When it comes to skincare, if we're talking about skincare, I'll tell you one of the best feelings in the world is whenever you wake up in the morning and you look at your skin and your skin is exactly the way you want it. There is no better feeling in the world. Honestly,
it's really rare.
It's very, very rare, but yes, 100% it is rare, but it's that little bit of work. It's getting those products that work for you. That's the hard bit. But once you do get, once you have those in your arsenal, you do wake up and you go, look at me.
Mm-hmm.
Look at me. I have no skin problems. I know when it comes to 4 o'clock today, I'm not going to be that oily. Everything's under control. Everything's playing its part in my routine. And that's so important. And I know for me, and it's a hard thing to say, but skincare is a massive part of me as a person. It's everybody has that one wee bit inside of them that, it could be cooking, it could be coding on a computer, it could be knitting. Mine's skincare, and I love that. So when I wake up in the morning and I look at my skin and the products that I've used during the day before have worked, and I look the way that I want to, no better feeling in the world. Give me anything to do that day, give me any task, I will do it better. If I'm confident.
I don't see anything bad in that you like. Yeah.
Thank you so much. But that's what I mean. It's that feeling and being confident in your skin and being able to talk openly like we are now and say, I don't have any concerns about my skin. I see me for who I am, and the products that I use work. There's nothing wrong with saying that. I had a problem when I was a teenager. I don't now. So definitely I think that the feeling of waking up and looking at your skin in the mirror before you have anything else on and knowing that you're confident in it is one of the best feelings in the world. You could take me to Paris, you could take me to Las Vegas.
Yeah.
That feeling in the morning is unreal.
I think the big part here is the self-acceptance.
I think that you're right. I think that there's no problems being confident, and only so often we see people, and a lot of the beauty industry and the skincare industry is sort of built on people having a skin issue. And that's where we get this, I have a pimple here, don't look at it. Your skin is an organ, and we forget that. We forget that it's just like an eye, it's like your nose, it's like your mouth, it's like your heart, your lungs. It's an organ, and it does its own job better than we will ever do it. It's a bit like this. If I went to the gym and I worked out and I had the body of a Greek god, and I stood and I said, look at what I've worked for here. Look at this. And you'd be like, you know what, Andrew, well done. Worked hard for it. Well, why do we not have that feeling when it comes to skin? Why do we not go, I worked hard for this? I worked, I spent X amount of money on products that didn't work. I found these that do. Look how well they work for me. Why do we not accept that we do a good job in ourselves? We should take pride in that.
Yeah, I agree.
100%.
Would you say that skincare is also self-care?
100%. It's my therapy. It's my moment to be me, and I'll tell you this, whenever I grew up, I left university and my first job was with a skincare brand, La Mer. And I was one of the only guys, and you can imagine, I'm in Northern Ireland at the minute, and obviously about everything that goes on in that sort of area. It was really, really hard for me to be a man in the beauty industry and the skincare industry. It wasn't the done thing, and it especially wasn't the done thing here. And I suppose a lot of my confidence comes maybe from that, but this is my self-care. This is what makes me mentally okay. And this is what makes me confident. And this is what makes me get up in the morning and say, I'm ready to face the world. And I think that if we don't have that element of self-care, no matter what form it is, you're lacking something during the day. You don't give everything your all. And I have this moment of self-care, and I've accepted that this is what makes me tick. And in many ways, I've had to fight for it and, take some abuse in Northern Ireland, working for a skincare brand and things like that. So this is me. This is me bare bones, and it works for me. And I won't deny it to anyone. I'll sit here for 10, 15 minutes, as little as that may be. But behind this screen, I have a big speaker over here. I have a mirror here. Get me some music on, or get me a podcast on. Give me my products. And it's 15 minutes where no one can touch me. No one can ring. I'm not answering. No one can come through this door. This is mine. That's invaluable. That is invaluable.
This is such a positive energy. I love talking to you, Andy.
BFFs.
Let me know, do you want to share some skincare tips and tricks you discovered in your skincare journey with us?
100%. A salicylic acid cleanser. Get one. Do not let it go. Right? Number one. Number two, get a tool. This is better than your hands will ever, the job this does is better than your hands will ever do. Think of, I have 5 fingers here. How many fingers does that have? Yeah. A lot. Tell me that's not the most relaxing cleanse you will ever have in your life.
I can
honestly. Salicylic acid cleanser. Get a Foreo, get a cleansing tool. You will not look back, and don't let anyone say, I think that a lot of times people think back to Clarisonic and they think, oh, it's rough, it's a bit. This is the gentlest cleanse you will ever have.
Yeah.
And it's magical. And
we have to mention the T-sonic pulsations that feel so good on your skin.
But here's the thing, and I do want to mention this.
Okay.
When I first got a Foreo, I was like, wow, this is unreal. But I went on the internet and I looked and I was like, okay, sonic cleansers, sonic this, that, and the other. And there was ones going up to 9,000, 14,000 pulsations. I thought at that time, give me it, 14,000. Sounds amazing. That's exactly when I come back to when I was a teenager, because I actually bought the sonic cleanser with all these pulsations that were promising me a brand new face. And what actually happened was my skin was so red and so angry. And I was like, why is that happening? Because surely it should be just cleansing deeper. It totally wasn't. It was over invigorating my skin. And all those little issues I had as a teenager were starting to creep back in again, where I was just doing it was just too strong. It was awful. So when people say, oh, that'll strip your skin, nobody needs a tool, use it for 2 months and come back to me. That's what I would say to you. Salicylic acid cleanser, Foreo, retinols. These are going to be your best friends. Your cleansing routine is the most important step in your routine. Without a good cleanser and without a good deep clean, you might as well build a house without foundations. This is the foundations to your house. Without this, you can buy any serum in the world and it won't penetrate, it won't go through. You need a good cleanse. You need to take the day off, take the pollution off, take the makeup off, and then you'll see the benefits of your serum, of your moisturizer, whatever it happens to be. And I think that is my biggest tip to anyone. And even now, whenever I look at a new skincare brand, the first product I'll go to is the cleanser, because if they don't have a good cleanser, chances are they haven't thought about the routine in general. They've thought, put something cheap as the cleanser. Let's go with that. let's put all the money and the big bang words into the serum. I will not touch that product. If the brand doesn't have a good cleanser or cleansing options, I'm out. I'm out.
Yeah.
You haven't thought about it. The brand hasn't thought about it. You need a good, clean skin for anything to work. Without that, you can put anything on your skin. You'll not see the benefits.
Yeah, I think I don't even have to ask you, do you skip your skincare routine? Because I have a feeling you don't skip it.
100%. My skincare routine does not, like, I never deviate from my skin. Now, don't get me wrong. There have been nights when I have come in where, you know, I maybe have had a sherry too many and I've just cleansed, walked on a bit of a moisturizer and went to bed. But my skincare routine is so important to me. 100%.
And what makes you feel good in your skin?
Do you know what? It is the confidence. I think that there shouldn't be a problem standing up and saying, do you know what? I have good skin. I don't think, and that's for me is so important. And I think that going forward, that's the way it has to be. You know, yeah. I like the fact that I worked for this, because whenever I was 17, 18, this is not the way this was. And even now, and I've never had a laser treatment, I've never had Botox, I've never touched anything like that. I still have acne scars down here. I still have little massive pores for a guy. But I think that my skin is good. People have pores. This is a scar from when I was 17, 18. Own it. Have some confidence, you know. So for me, that's one of the most important things is just to be confident and you know, own your skin. If you've got your products right and they're working for you and you're glowing, own it, say it, be confident in it. And that's one of the most important things for me with skincare is confidence. It's bringing out that confidence. And I think that the more we look at ourselves and we look at the positives, those negative, you know, oh, I could maybe lose a bit of weight here, or, oh, look, my hair's a bit up the left here. You know, they go away. And there's nothing wrong with saying, when I was 17, 18, I used to cry myself to sleep because I had acne. I'm now 35 and I stand up and I'm confident. I don't think there's a problem in that.
I agree. Andy, thank you so much for sharing your experience,
no problem,
your skincare routine and everything with us, and for that positive energy. I have to mention it again. I hope we'll talk again soon.
100%. Perfect. You take care of yourself.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Take care, Tamara. See you soon.